Today we're making the internet's most viral steaks from YouTube's greatest chefs. From a 100-hour brisket to a $1,000 honey-soaked ribeye to steak creations that have somehow garnered over 1 billion views, we'll be ranking each to find out which internet chef is the steak king. Let's get started. And starting out with Joshua Weissman's 5.4 million view MSG butter steak. But keep in mind that as the video goes on, the views will get progressively crazier. Adding MSG to butter sounds genius. I've never tried it before. Let's see how it is.
Ever wanted your food to taste so good that it makes people cry?
I have.
4 cloves of garlic, grated.
Everything is so aggressive. If this whole cooking thing doesn't work out, he should always start singing. That wasn't bad. Okay, finally the steak is out. That looks amazing.
Good Lord!
Let's find out if this is actually good. We're of course starting off with a jumbo tomahawk. Keep the seasoning simple with a bunch of kosher salt, going heavy, getting both sides. And of course, some black pepper. We'll get this on the grill and get started on the butter. We're gonna very aggressively throw that in. In with the parsley, the garlic, we'll chop up the chili, and of course the most important ingredient, MSG!
How do you get your voice that high?
And we'll mix it up. I have to say at this point, it looks and smells amazing. We'll plop it down and roll it out. And we'll get it in the fridge. And got it nice and refrigerated, time to slice. Check out the marbling on that. I have to say, it looks beautiful. Now, instead of throwing the butter on top of the steak, I actually like to place my compound butter below the steak to protect that upper crust, and then just allow that hot steak to melt into that butter.
I love me some steak.
Ooh, that is a buttery steak. That looks very flavorful.
Oh mama.
That's insane.
Right? You got a little bit of heat and there's something extra going on. It's gotta be the MSG.
It is a huge umami bomb with smokiness, with char. I've never tasted anything like that.
Is it gonna make you cry?
Unbelievable flavor in that butter. Then you have the garlic and the herbs and a little bit of spice and I guess MSG. And it's like the most incredible bite of steak ever.
There's no way this is healthy, but like, it is mind-blowingly good.
I don't think it's S. Honestly, I would say like A or B.
Starting off incredibly hot, a very solid A for Joshua Weissman. With nearly 11 million views, you knew Guga would be on this list. I cooked a brisket for a month and this happened. Let's see what happened.
So let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so far pretty standard, trimming up the brisket. He's doing it at 130, 131 Fahrenheit, which I think is perfect. That's essentially as low as you can go while still maintaining pasteurization. And if you're sous videing for such an extended period of time, you do want to go low so it doesn't completely overcook. There's a lot of moisture coming out of there. Evidently, things did not go well here.
It smells like a baby inside of your car and it was left over for days on the sun.
Looks like he's throwing it on the smoker to achieve a little bit of smoky flavor. At least visually, this is looking pretty good. Okay, I mean, it is just completely falling apart, does not pass the bend test. I really want to see how this tastes.
It is completely unedible. I cannot stress enough again, don't try this at home.
With all that being said, let's do it. And starting off with a whole brisket. Now we are gonna make a few adjustments to Guga's video to see if we can make this thing edible. Start by hitting it with a little Worcestershire binder, getting both sides. Even though we're not cooking this one traditional, we are gonna do so with the seasonings. It's a big cut of meat, so we're going heavy. And I'll see if I can get this baby into a sous vide bag. Just like that, got it double bagged up just to be safe. And let's whip out the hot tub. Only cooking to 130 Fahrenheit, so this plastic bin should be okay. And we also have 2 sous vides for the job. And in with the brisket. Now, here's the thing. We are not going to cook this for 31 days. We already know what's gonna happen if we do that.
It is bad, bad, bad.
But I still wanna try and push the boundaries. We're gonna see what happens if we sous vide this for 100 full hours. I've never done that before. I've never even seen it done before. So honestly, I have no idea what's about to happen. It is Friday at 11 a.m. What this means is that I'll see you guys at some point on Tuesday afternoon. I'll see you guys in 100 hours. I cannot believe the day is here. It has officially been exactly 102 hours. Let's see what we got. I really hope this thing is still edible. This thing feels so tender, debatably too tender. The moment of truth to see if it's rotten, that actually smells great. On second thought, apparently everybody else in this room thinks this smells funky and not in a good way. Personally, I think it just smells like cooked beef. We'll have to see if this thing's still edible. So much liquid coming out of this thing after those 4 days of cooking. And this is what she's looking like. You can see how it's gotten a lot smaller in size. Most of that due to this insane amount of liquid that's come out of it. I'm gonna pat this thing as dry as possible, but we just had a third person walk into this room and say that it smells extremely cheesy. And the more it's here, the more I can kind of see what they're saying. I have no idea if this is rotten, but we're gonna move forward. Time to get it on the smoker, and I know it doesn't look that good right now.
But watch this.
All right, guys, 4 additional hours of smoke, and I can't lie, it is looking absolutely incredible. This brisket has never gotten over 130 degrees Fahrenheit, which technically means it should be medium rare. The only thing left to do is slice into it. Wow, I can tell it is definitely tender, looking so strange. That is a 100-hour medium rare internal brisket. Is it juicy? Yes, it is, but it's just weird that it's red. You just don't normally see this on a brisket. Now we'll take some slices of the flat. This is usually very dry and difficult to cook correctly. It has a very different texture than I'm used to. It's most certainly not falling apart, something I was very worried about given how long we cooked this. See if it passes the bend test. Oh yeah, that is perfect. The only thing left to do is see how it tastes.
Is this rotten?
Don't judge a book by its smell.
It smells like something went wrong.
Can we agree I put you guys through way worse? Let's look back in time. There was the opossum. There was the turtle egg.
It pops.
Pops.
Burger made out of bugs.
There was the bug burger. Kyle, take a bite. You're gonna enjoy this.
It's so soft.
It's definitely too soft.
It's mush.
But it's medium rare.
And it's not rotten.
It tastes like someone pre-chewed some brisket and put it in my mouth.
Right, it's like what the birds do for their babies.
It's like pate, but drier.
All-time worst texture I've had on meat right there.
It's clear from Guga that 30 days is way too long, and I think with this one, 4 days is also pushing it. It's just a little too much.
I'll give it an F-.
I'd give it a D+.
Unfortunately, today it's gonna be a D for Guga, but Guga, you know I love you. We have made it to the one and only Binging with Babish, 22 million views on his Jake's Perfect Sandwich from Adventure Time. Okay, starting off relatively tame sous vide steak, I can get behind this. Okay, it looks like he's deboning the Cornish game hen.
If you're gonna try this at home, just use a couple chicken thighs or something.
You already know that we're doing the real deal with this one. Okay, so steak and chicken, I understand, but now we're adding lobster to the mix.
Cornish game hen that I'm going to throw into the broiler for about 10 minutes.
I kind of feel like that hen needs a bit more color to get the skin crispy.
I'm gonna rub a bunch of stingy stuff in my eyes until, finally, I yield a drop of salty face water.
Apparently I need to harvest my own tears for this one. I guess there's a first for everything.
A bird from the window, cucumbers sliced thinly, laying our steak on top. This thing's starting to get a little precarious. Some real teardrops for salt, and of course about a half pound of bacon.
Bacon does make everything better, so I can at least understand that one. I can't lie, it's pretty epic. Let's give it a shot. And it all starts off with a beautiful steak. And we'll hit it with some salt and black pepper. Into the sous vide bag, herbs in, and we'll seal. 135 Fahrenheit for, what are you doing? Sorry. 135 Fahrenheit in the sous vide. And let's debone this Cornish hen. I've deboned plenty of chickens on this channel, never one this small. Let's see how this goes. Okay, yeah, this is significantly harder than doing it with the chicken. Everything is just on a microscopic level. Just absolutely manhandling this little guy. That was not easy. Oh, we still got a little wishbone attached here. All right, Sophia, if you win, we're gonna choose one person down in the comments and give them 5 free bags of jerky. How does this keep happening?
Yay! Free jerky!
Guess someone's getting lucky? Comment down below. Man, we'll just season it simply with salt. Making sure to get both sides of that completely boneless Cornish hen. Now, instead of roasting this, we're actually gonna try deep frying it to get better color. That is the color we're looking for. And time for the lobster tail.
Making lobster aioli.
So we actually don't need any of the lobster meat itself. We only need the shell. Perfect opportunity to see if I still got it. Kyle, what do you think the chances are I can slice this perfectly in half with the cleaver?
Actually 0. There's 0 chance you're getting it.
3, 2, 1. Look at this, Kyle. That thing is perfectly in half. It hit my shoe and it hit the wall. Pretty good. Maine lobster is way better though. Shell into a blender, then we'll add some oil and we'll blend that up. You already know I gotta go for a sip of that fresh. It's steaming. Why is it steaming? Why is it steaming? That is the good stuff. Into a pot, and we'll cook it down. And now for by far the most difficult step of the day. I apparently now need to try and extract some tears. So we're gonna start with some onion. This is not something I suggest anyone does at home. Oh, wow. Pat, don't ask questions. Pat just walked in the room. Wow. This is insanely painful. Babish, you are a psychopath. I love it. Did I get one?
Yep, I saw them going.
We got one drop after all that. Oh, God. You see that? Let's move on to the next step. We'll start with the cream cheese on both sides, pickles on one side, some fresh dill on the other, hard-boiled eggs over the pickles, bird nestled on top, as almost if he laid those eggs. Next up, some cucumber, the sweet onion. This is getting ridiculous, but the tomato goes on top of that. Next up, the sous vide steak we've also seared. And for the salt, we need our teardrop, our giant stack of bacon, and some of that lobster shell aioli that we made with the lobster right over all that dill. We'll close it up, and that right there is a sandwich. This has given me major flashbacks to the last time we recreated one of Binging with Babish's sandwiches. No idea if this is sliceable, but we'll give it a shot. Okay. Ta-da! Get the right idea, Sophia. This is definitely a glove situation.
It looks like you took about 6 different dinners, threw it under a bun, and I guess that's what you kind of did.
That's what we did.
It's actually amazing.
I love it.
Really good. I love the bacon. I love the dill.
The textures, flavors.
Genuinely, it's an amazing sandwich. It's obviously stunt food, but it actually works.
I'm not gonna say it's all because of my teardrop, but I'm not gonna say it's not because of my teardrop.
I completely forgot that you put a teardrop on this.
I think this needs to be in the S tier.
I was gonna say the same.
That right there is incredible, and quite easily the most shocking S tier meat dish that we'll ever see. And we have made it to the one and only Nick DiGiovanni with his 44 million view ultimate steak crust.
I recently saw this video of a seared duck breast, but what if we cook a regular steak that way?
Okay, first of all, Nick, you gotta choose a steak with better marbling than that.
Now into a pan with some oil.
That is a lot of oil. Okay, the crust does look pretty good, but I really hope he didn't overcook it.
That's the best crust I've ever had. If you do this, I'd use a thicker steak. It's a little overcooked.
A little may be an understatement. Let's try it out for ourselves. Okay guys, I know I was sort of talking smack about Nick's steak. Ours doesn't look that much better, but at least it's pretty thick and has decent marbling. Just like Nick said, I'll start by scoring one way like so. Now we'll come across the other angle, and I think that looks pretty good. And we'll season with Osmo just like he said. And it's time to sear. Oil in, then we'll add the Nick DiGiovanni special steak crust steak, followed by a regular control steak to see which one's best. I'm gonna throw in a bit more oil. He used a lot. Give it a flip. Wow, that is actually looking incredible. Almost looks like a perfectly seared duck breast. Both the crusts look great at this point. I actually don't know which one's gonna taste better. And here we have the ultimate steak crust. Super dark mahogany color. It's looking very good, specifically on the outer layers there, though I will say within the slices, it's a little bit gray. We'll have to see how that affects the flavor. That is what I'm talking about. I'm happy to see that what we did to the exterior doesn't seem to have affected the cook on the steak. I mean, it looks perfect. And of course, we have our regular control steak. You've seen this one before, and like always, it is stunning. All right, guys, we'll start with this steak right here.
That's a good steak.
It's like a perfect steak.
What do you guys think about the crust?
Perfect.
Now let's move on to number 2.
It looks like a duck breast.
I like this one better.
I like that it's actually crunchy. Like the corners of the slits are crispy like a chip.
It's a very pronounced crust, and you kind of get it in every bite.
I bit the crust like 3 times.
It's safe to say that that is actually a significantly better steak. I think we gotta put this in A tier. It's worth trying. We have made it to Chef Cuso. It's 2 pounds of salt on 2 pounds of steak. With 69 million views, this is my kind of video.
How much salt is too much salt? Salt in the bowl?
Do I really have to crack the egg with my mouth? Oh, he ate the egg too. I mean, to be fair, this is the guy who ate some raw beef fat with me.
Basically want to season with everything besides salt.
That makes sense. We are adding a lot of salt here. So he's going with 2 steaks on top of each other. I feel like I'm just gonna go with a full big 2-pound steak. It just makes more sense. Whoa, it's like a rock. Nice looking crust. This one should be very interesting. Let's find out for ourselves. Starting with a big boy ribeye. I mean, this thing is closer to a prime rib than a steak. That is thick. So we started by seasoning with an herbaceous rub, but the key here is not adding any salt at this stage. Also hit it heavy with a bunch of garlic and onion powder. And time for salt. This is extremely unnecessary, but we gotta keep it authentic. Why does that man do the things he does? You want just the egg white, a little bit of shell in there, never hurt. Okay. And this step is also extremely unnecessary, but once again, we gotta keep it authentic. And let's give it a mix. We've reached a really nice, almost clay cement-like texture. It should be perfect. Does anyone remember George the Snowman? But every snowman must eventually meet his end. He's back.
In danger.
I'm sorry, brother. Layer one down with the steak, and we'll completely cover the steak. And into the smoker. And just like that, it should be done. Let's crack into it. Whew, hot. And let's sear. At this stage, it's essentially been steamed, so this step is critical in achieving a crust. Let's slice into it. Maybe a bit closer to medium than medium rare, but that is a pretty nice edge-to-edge doneness, all things considered. It's actually amazing.
I love the herbs.
Very strong herb flavor.
Perfect seasoning mix.
This is something we've done before, and the way we describe it is fully seasoned. You'd think it'd be way too salty, but for whatever reason, when you salt crust something, it just brings out the flavor in the best way possible, and it actually works.
And it really allows you to get a good crust on the outside too, because that salt has just dry brined the exterior. This is incredible.
1, 2, 3, A. You guys are both B.
Nice.
All right, the people have spoken. We're going with a B. Let's move on. With 70 million views, we have the 7-day honey cured steak from Max the... Wait, that's me. Let's revisit our 7-day honey cured steak. The key was seasoning before the honey, heavy with salt and pepper. That was actually just a prime grade porterhouse. Wasn't Wagyu, but I mean, the marbling was crazy on that one. Seasoned again. Now I know you guys watching this think that steak was just way too sweet. There's no way it tasted good, but I promise you it was absolutely phenomenal. But this time, you already know we gotta take it to the next level. This is a massive Wagyu A5 ribeye. It's gotta be like 5 pounds, and the marbling is ridiculous. First thing we need to do is season it heavily with salt, giving it a few hours to penetrate. This is critical to balance out the sweetness. And now let's assemble the honey. And we'll need a lot of it. No clue if this is gonna be worth it, but just adding in some freshly shaved black truffle, followed by some dehydrated black truffle, and I'll give it a mix. And just like that, we're left with some stunning truffle honey. And it has been 6 full hours of dry brining, and it's crazy because it doesn't even seem like that salt has penetrated at all. It's completely dry to the touch, but there's so much fat, I think the salt has had a hard time actually absorbing. We'll have to see if that salt flavor comes through by the time this is done. But either way, steak in, and we'll cover in a sweet cocoon of that truffle honey, coating all sides. And we'll let this cure for a few days. I will see you in a few days. Hope you guys have a good time. All right, guys, we let this one go for a full 7 days. That is 168 hours. Time to check on that Wagyu A5. Let's see if I can get this out. Oh man, it is so thick. This is crazy. The honey's cold at this point, so it is so much thicker than usual, but it doesn't have any off smells or anything like that, so hopes are high. I'll just remove the excess. And this is so weird. It feels like a dry brined or like a dry aged steak. I know this thing is gonna be sweet, so even though we already seasoned once, I'm gonna hit it again with a bunch of kosher salt, and we'll finish with black pepper. I am just really praying that this is not a 7-day, $1,000 disaster, but either way, let's get it on the grill. And we'll start it on the cool side to slowly smoke and bring up that temp. We've reached 125 internal. Let's now shift to the hot side for just a lick of flames, and we're left with an absolute beauty. I mean, the color is just perfect. And slicing into it, we have what looks like a nice medium rare, but still decent rendering on the excessive amount of fat. Now I'll slice up the best part, that cat muscle. I mean, this looks like one of the craziest pieces of meat we've ever cooked. I cannot wait to try this one.
Dude, does it taste like lobster to you guys?
You taste lobster?
And take another bite.
What? Wait, do you like it though?
Yeah, I love it.
No.
You don't like it? No. Are you freaking kidding me?
Way too sweet and way too fatty.
I actually taste more salt than sweet.
I feel sick after eating that one bite of food.
Genuinely, I think this is at the top for me.
This is probably in the bottom 5 for me. I feel good because now I'm giving them the real opinion, you know?
I hate you. I genuinely, I hate you.
You hate me as much as I hate that steak.
Sophia, what would you rank it?
I'd give it an S.
It is absolutely an S. So SS, what are you giving it?
I think it's like a D.
That comes out to a shockingly low average of a B. Kyle, we're gonna have a talk after this. Let's move on. You knew Gordon Ramsay was gonna be on this list. With 73 million views, we have Let's Make a Steak Sandwich.
Let's make a steak sandwich.
Whew. That was the rolling pin smack heard around the world. Seasoning the steak after it enters the pan, it's kind of weird. I think he's overcrowding the pan here, and he hasn't even seared the top half of the steak. Like, why are there onions in the pan? And also, adding the Worcestershire while the steak's in there is adding moisture, which is further affecting the crust. I've seen better. Okay, this sauce looks incredible. Adding some wasabi along with the pan juices, that's unique. I'm sorry, Gordon, but the crust on that steak really needs some work. I mean, you said it yourself.
You got no color, no flavor.
I mean, I'm sure the sandwich tastes good, but there are several elements that I think need improvement. Let's give it a shot. And the first step, which is most important, that should be perfect. And now we're gonna toast up the bread, and I am gonna make a few adjustments to this recipe to hopefully make it better. Bread is nicely toasted up, and unlike with Gordon's recipe, I'm actually gonna remove the garlic and herbs for now, and we'll place down our fully seasoned steak. And now we're going to fully cook this steak without adding anything to the pan, aside from a bit of butter and herbs, and we'll just butter baste it until it's fully finished cooking, allowing us to achieve a significantly better crust just like this. I mean, just take a look at that crust. There is no comparison. With our steak optimally cooked, only now will we go in with those onions, throwing in a little soy sauce and Worcestershire, and just starting to get some nice color on them. We got some really nice color. Let's take these off and assemble. Toasted bread, the wasabi sauce, arugula, the onions topped with juices, that perfectly seared steak followed by more onions and drippings, finishing the same way we started, and I have to say, it's looking pretty freaking good to me. The infamous Gordon Ramsay steak sandwich.
Looks great. By the way, did you whack the heck out of that steak enough?
I did.
All right,
I gave it a good whack.
It's the best steak sandwich I've ever had.
That is so good.
You know what I really like? A lot of freshness and balanced flavor between the arugula, but the standout is that wasabi.
Everything is good about the sandwich.
And the thing about someone like Gordon Ramsay is he has these little tips and tricks that really elevate food, like adding the wasabi, adding the pan drippings to the sauce. That right there is an incredible sandwich.
This is an S. Gordon's is an A.
Exactly. Because his crust was lacking, we're giving it a very respectable A. With 75 million views, we've made it to the Protein King, and it's the usual suspects, QCP and Rush. Just starting off so intense. If you just pause and look at his face, like, that is a terrifying human. But the thing is, if you've met him, he's like the sweetest man ever.
It's convenient.
He's back in. That is a massive bun. Somebody count for me how many times QCP's been in the pool. Jumbo patty, a lot of bacon, and we got the tomahawk. That is an unbelievable cross section.
Bon appetito, bitch.
Let's make it. To start, we'll need the ground beef and a tomahawk. Almost kneading out the beef as if it was dough. Just trying to get it to its final form. The world's biggest patty. Perfect. We'll hit them with salt and a bunch of pepper, and we'll get them on the grill. 2 absolutely massive hunks of meat in this video, so doing my best to get good color on each without the patty falling apart, while also keeping them medium rare. Can't forget to toast up the buns, and we should be good to go. And let's assemble. Special sauce, bunch of onion, tomatoes, a ridiculous amount of crispy bacon, some layers of avocado, the lettuce. Next, the burger monstrosity that's literally the size of my head. The jumbo tomahawk, some cheese. That will get nice and melted. The sweet potato fries, and we'll close it up. Try to be like Chef Rush. Worked okay. There's no way someone could take a full bite of this thing. Let's slice. That right there is a cross section. Guys, let me know down in the comments, is that burger raw or cooked to perfection? 1, 2, 3. Kyle, 1, 2, 3.
I don't know what I got.
I got everything.
Oh my God, you did it.
With 2 bites. Instant replay on that, my 2 bites.
It actually tastes good though.
I will say, I love the flavors. I love the avocado in there, the bacon.
That sauce too. Good burger sauce actually makes a huge difference.
It's an S tier for fun and creativity, but it's an F for practicality, which sadly means I think it's a C. I think we have to meet it a C. Bon appetito, bitch. Next up, we have steak tacos with Kian, and looks like we got Chef Rush in the building. You already know it's gonna get intense.
We're making steak tacos.
Nice sear in the pan. Kian is always on point with those knife skills. Look at the size of that watch on Chef Rush. That is a large man. I'm telling you, his biceps are probably the size of my thighs. Everything about them is different, except for the fact that they both can cook. Perfect medium rare. Pretty simple, but this video has 98 million views. We gotta make it. And starting off with flank steak, definitely an underrated cut. Has those really long muscle fibers, so you have to cut it against the grain, but it's perfect for tacos. They went super fast on the seasoning, but this is what I think they used. It looked like some combination of salt, cumin, onion, garlic, maybe chili powder and black pepper. But Kian and Chef Rush, if you're watching, please let me know exactly what it was down in the comments. Let's get it on the grill. Flipping frequently to get some nice color on it. And I'd say so far so good. Let's slice. A nice medium rare. When sliced against the grain, flank steak is super tender and I think underrated. Let's assemble. Beef, avocado, salsa, and lime juice. It's simple, but looks and smells amazing. Oh yeah. This might be a hot take, but I actually prefer the tortilla unfried, but it is a phenomenal taco.
The toasted flavor is nice. However, it does get a little bit too greasy.
Honestly, I think the salsa is what puts this one over the top for me. It is so good.
I agree with those points, and I do think it is quite delicious. It's a very well executed taco, but it's missing something to put it over the top.
I think B is a good score for a basic, delicious taco.
And we have made it to our very first video over 100 million views. It's Bayashi with his rare steak with cheese sandwich. Let's see what we got. We're already starting off in the wrong direction. Is that American craft cheese on top of a filet mignon? What has the world come to?
Hey, Dims.
Wow, we actually have Bayashi speaking in a video. That is few and far between. His name is Dims the Meat Guy. He handles Asia, I handle America. We've talked a few times, but let me know if you think we should collab down in the comments. So it's pretty clear to me that he did not age it for a full 40 days. That's like 24 hours maximum. Nice crust. To be honest, it looks a little bit raw, but I'll take it. Questionable sandwich to say the least, but let's give it a shot. So I actually have no idea what cut Bayashi actually used for this, but just to be safe, I'm using the tenderloin. It's lean, but the most tender cut on the cow, considered by many to be the best. What I'm gonna do is remove the tail, which is this right here. Next, I'll remove the head, which is this part right here. And what we're left with is the prize center cut, AKA the Chateaubriand. This right here is generally the most expensive part on the cow, and for some reason today we're covering it in American cheese. Bayashi, I'm trusting you on this one. Okay, so don't tell Bayashi, but I am actually going out of order with this. I'm gonna season it before I add the cheese, but it's all part of my plan. We're gonna lay down the cheese slices in almost a checkerboard pattern. I'll lay on the tenderloin, and I'll very carefully roll it up. Kind of crimping off the edges there. That should be perfect. And into the fridge to age. All right, we've let this thing age for about 30 hours, which I'm pretty sure is longer than Bayashi did it. Now what he did was actually take off the cheese, but I think it's more interesting if we just leave it on. So the only thing left to do is get it on the grill. And just like that, it has been smoked to perfection and it is looking cheesy. It's actually a pretty hard exterior. That is weird. Okay, well, we do at a minimum have a nice medium rare internal, but your guess is as good as mine as to whether or not the exterior will taste good or if I completely ruin this. And we'll assemble our sandwich. Just slapping on some thin slices of our beef cheese combo for what easily is the most bizarre steak and cheese sandwich I've ever made. This is amazing.
Why do I like this?
I was so ready to hate on this dish. It's really good.
Right?
This is like the perfect grilled cheese with steak.
Nothing about this sounds right, but if this is wrong, I don't want to be right. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I think it's worth covering meat in cheese and smoking it. But what I will say is that that is not exactly what Bayashi did. He actually removed the cheese. This deserves an S or an A, but his specific dish doesn't have that cheesy element. As much as I love this sandwich, I think it needs to be a B.
I agree.
If this didn't have smoke flavor, I think it would be a lot worse.
Still very solid. We'll give it a B for Bayashi.
And we have made it to quite possibly the most viewed steak video on the internet. 325 million views, that is just mind-boggling. And you already know it's Albert and the crew.
Guys, we can fix this.
Okay, Chef Rush has brought out the meat. Looks like we have some tenderloin. That is not something I had to see on a Monday. This is my type of cake. If you're gonna have a cake, it might as well be a beef cake. That is a lot of caviar. This one's gonna be expensive. There's just a lot of yolk in there. Well, it's time to find out, does the most viewed steak video of the day actually taste good? Let's find out. And we'll start with some of that leftover tenderloin.
Starting with some nice thin slices here, then I'll get them chopped up into little bite-sized pieces for the tartare.
Hit it with a little soy sauce, some sesame oil, kind of freestyling at this point, but we're gonna hit it with a little gochujang, some ginger, garlic, some lemon juice, a bit of seasoning, and sesame seeds. And now we mix.
And just a bit of honey.
Time to go for a taste. Really hope this is food safe. That is actually fantastic. And now, we assemble. We'll start with a layer of beef. Now we'll add the cucumbers and that final layer of beef.
An absolutely astronomical amount of caviar. This one hurts the wallet, but gotta keep it traditional. Oh, this just feels wrong on so many levels.
Get it all spread out. Finally, a layer of chives around the sides. 1 egg, just the yolk. Let's see what happens when I take this thing off. Whew. Few candles for Bayashi, I think it's his birthday.
And that right there is the beefcake of all beefcakes.
Gotta make a wish. Ooh. Gotta go for a little slice. Oh.
Happy birthday to Bayashi.
Happy birthday, Bayashi.
Happy birthday, Bayashi.
So good.
It's good.
It's very good.
And it's seasoned so well.
And then you get that little saltiness from the caviar too, and the chives just kind of punch you back into regular universe.
I was fully prepared for this just to be the most stunt of all stunt food, but it actually works and it tastes amazing. I'm so torn. I think it could be an S.
I love this. I could totally go for S.
Is it as good as Babish's sandwich?
It might be.
I'm gonna make the call. Based on what those 3 guys did to that cucumber, we are not allowing this dish into the S tier. It is gonna be still a very respectable A for Albert. And what that means is Binging with Babish has taken the crown on this one. Woo! Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to check out maxjerky.com if you're interested in supporting the channel, and we'll see you next time.